former G5 governors do not want to support Obi because if he wins, he will not enjoy National Assembly. Source. According to a news that was published by the Vanguard newspaper online this morning, it was reported that feelers from the G5 camp in the PDP have said that the governors in the camp are torn between declaring support for the presidential candidate of the APC and that of the Labour Party. It was reported that a reliable source within the G5 governors camp who confided in Vanguard said the governors were considering giving their support to either of the two, but they are divided. He said 4 of the G5 governors do not want to support Obi because if he wins, he will not enjoy a National Assembly. Further talking, he said one of the governors was making a case for Obi, but others argue that he lacks the support base to cover the 36 states and Abuja. I think, to be honest, I feel like, obviously, because of our system and we don't have a way to track and regulate things, it is a bit difficult to sort of gauge, because realistically when people talk about the likelihood of the Labour Party winning, it then goes outside of personal opinion on whether he's good or not. That's not what we're talking about, because I feel like individuals may get very sensitive with the fact that you being realistic with the fact, okay, is he able to win? Some may interpret it as you don't like the man, you don't think he's good enough. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, does he have the numbers again to carry through the, I think he needs to win about 70% of votes in 25 of 36 states, if I'm right. So, especially, and I think opposition parties use the recent rallies that are the recent rallies in different states as like, oh wow, this individual who may not seem to get it. But I think it is really hard to judge in the larger sense, because we are getting close to the elections and we're going to see how things are. But again, we also have to think of the reality, especially as they say, the grassroots. And we know that with the old political system and the old political lot, weaponization of, poverty and lack of education has definitely been their tool, and I guess, their political structure, to be honest. So yes, I think, again, the G5 governors have their own, they have whatever they want to discuss, but I feel like putting attention on them makes them feel so important and really, I mean, yes, they do have that power and influence, for them to be governors in their respective states to, yield to Peter Obi, which can, make a significant difference. But in that case, just for individuals to judge for themselves, we also have to see, okay, fine, realistically, obedience need to do, I mean, it would be incredibly difficult, in my opinion, to be honest. This is not about Peter Obi being incompetent or not. It's just covering that number. But then how do we even measure it? Because we know about election rigging and vote buying. So it's like, I'm talking like as if we already have a credible system of, collating votes, which we don't. So in that way, should you actually be worried? Anyways, those in this camp argue that should he emerge victorious, we will be returning to square one, because he will not enjoy the majority in the National Assembly and thus will find it difficult to pass legislation required for him to make the reforms he has been conversing. On the other hand, those among them making a case for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu are of the view that the party, being the ruling party, has the requisite spread. The source also claimed that they alluded to the fact that Tinubu so far appears to recognize the disaster the APC represents at the centre and had concentrated on using successes recorded in Lagos as an example of what it intends to do when he gets into office. Absolutely, APC has been atrocious. So what can he really use as a defense for his party or even the current president to say? Because I feel like, again, as I always say, more than just the individual, you look at what the party produces, the caliber of individuals the party says, this person should lead you. Because really, you could use the party as an argument point and say, look what my party has done, look at the individuals my party has produced, look at the results, look at the president, look at this. And he can't do that. And of course, that's why, Tinubu doesn't have a lot to work with when it comes to defending himself and his ambitions. So he really has to use all he has, which is Lagos. And that's, to be honest, not good enough. But yeah, I think the G5 not supporting, Peter Obi because, not having the majority in the National Assembly, I think that is, in a way, a very valid point that we need to talk about, because we also need to raise awareness of the fact that yes, just the presidential level alone is not active enough to really make that change. I mean, the presidential level, yes, it's literally the number one spot in the country, number one citizen. So of course, the attention will be on there. But really, when it comes to developmental reforms, the changes that really need to be made and the bills that need to be brought up, yes, I think you might have a situation where if Peter B does not enjoy the majority, then you'd have parties literally working against him, and it would just seem like a whole disaster, to be honest. But we'll see how things go. Let's look at the comment section below and see what individuals are saying. So the question is, has the present president enjoyed the support of the assembly? Translates to good governance. Is this current national assembly dominated by the APC, not seen as the worst assembly since 1999? But that's the point. If you have a majority in the National Assembly, it works in your favor, especially when it comes to making bills and obviously trying to, establish reforms. That's the whole point, because it's easy for him to be antagonized and, things not working in his favor because, yeah. Another person, Adewale Abiodun, says this is nonsense. Why should they presume that Obi will enjoy the support? That Obi will enjoy the support of National Assembly. They should go ahead first and support him. When it comes to National Assembly support, they will be sorted out. This person just said, in simple terms, when we get to that bridge, we will cross it. Revolutionary reforms negate such thought lines, but go ahead to press on. At the appointed time, the lines shall fall into pleasant places, even for NASS. I mean, to be honest, I think distractions. I feel like individuals then talking about the G5 governors, of course, you can argue why they're essential, but really, I don't know. People are just like, oh yeah, Tinubu's gonna be the next president. You can't say this, you can't say that, and it just changes the conversation to, you don't think Peter Obi is good enough, to be honest, and it is really not that, to be honest. But again, you also have to understand how your politics and your constitution also works for you to really know realistically, if the changes can be made. But really, I don't think there should be any problem with that though. But yeah, put what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you believe that if Peter Obi wins, he will not be able to enjoy the National Assembly, and would it work to his favor, especially as the Labour Party may not have a majority in the National Assembly? Put what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe.